We were going down, and the damned elevator song started to get on my nerves. I shifted from foot to foot. Did you understand everything Kobayashi-sama said? Of course. It would be hard not to. I snarled. After the conversation with the old man in Kagamaru didn't scare me in the slightest. That's how it should be. Explain it to your girlfriend. We'll see that you do. I cast an angry glance at him. He was almost a head shorter than me and even looked comical with that Yakuza grin on his face and the tattoos visible under the collar of his shirt. The elevator arrived at the first floor, the doors opened, and I saw Kagome sitting right where I had left her. I didn't know if I should tell her what we had talked about with Kobayashi-san. I was just afraid it could all turn out to be true. For Kagome, her family took first priority. How would she take the news of her father being a spy, basically a thief? I didn't even know his true motives. Even if it were to turn out he was innocent, if he'd been taken for an entirely different reason, what of it? How could we help him? Going to the police would be useless. But I had absolutely no desire to lie in this sincere, albeit a bit too straightforward, girl. What would I have done had my parents' fate been hidden away from me? Come on. Kagomaro slightly pushed me in the back. I clenched my fist so hard it hurt, but left the elevator without looking back. I had a decision to make. A decision important both for me and Kagome. Meanwhile, she stood up and quickly walked to me. Well, here I am. Oh, wrong one. Well, here I am. My voice didn't sound half as friendly as I wanted. I was starting to think you wouldn't be coming back. Kagome sarcastically flung her hands up, as if I'd be able to escape from you. Well, how'd it go? Tell me. I hadn't really decided what I was about to say, but staying silent wasn't an option either. See, this is what I hate about saving. I hate that saving, like, totally cuts out the game. Wait. Is that telling me, like, the name of the background music? That'd be awesome. Anyway, yeah, I'm not lying to my girl Kagome. But would it be better if I did? I don't know, I guess we'll find out, but, no. Listen, I've been saying it for a while now. I'm all about that honesty policy. I'm all about that honesty policy. Don't lie to him. Well, especially with Kagome and Himitsu especially. I think probably the only one you could probably get away with it is Ellie, because like all these other characters, Himitsu and Catherine know Nikolai well enough to like they can see through his bullshit if he's lying. Kagome, she's just very tuned into that kind of shit, so she can easily see through bullshit. Ellie's probably the only one I feel like you could get away with lying to. And even then, when I get to that route, I'm still like, if they give me a like truth or lie kind of say, I'm still gonna say true. You better sit down. In the end, Kagome deserved to know the truth. Why? She asked angrily, but took a seat. I met Kobayashi-jun. Kagome was clearly surprised, and I immediately answered her unasked question. Yeah, that one. And he said, how do I even put it? Just don't worry. He said your father stole some secret information. And you believed him? She asked coldly. What does it matter if I did or didn't? I don't know the entire situation. Then believe me, my father would never do something like that. His work meant everything to him. Not the best argument, to be honest. Nah, I trust Kagome. And why are they accusing my father a year and a half later? Wait a second, a year and a half? Yeah, that's when he was fired. My parents died a year and a half ago, too. That can't be a coincidence. So you believe me? Always have. It was as if she absolutely needed me to believe her. I don't even trust myself anymore. Just a week ago, my life was clear and simple. What now? At least your father's alive. I'm sure he is. Although Kagome didn't react to the double meaning of my words in any way. Also, what do they need from me? Why did the director of Kobayashi Corporation himself have an audience with me? Doesn't it all seem strange to you? I guess. She frowned. And what do you suggest? I'm really sure they have a certain interest in us, otherwise they wouldn't even have had this talk. Yeah, I guess. She seemed to have calmed down a bit and was starting to see the situation without the haze of emotion. But I can't just sit and wait. To me, that seemed like the best course of action. But to say something like that to Kagome directly would mean another tantrum from her. And we won't. Again, what do you suggest? I hadn't really thought about that. And by the way, who was that man? His name was Kagemaru? I don't know, but it seems like he's not used to solving problems with words. Don't you think it's weird that the corporation is so interested in you? Of course it is. And I'd really like to know why. I should have come with you. I would have given that old man hell. For the first time today, she genuinely smiled. You think you'd scare him? He's got one of his own. Ellie, from our school. Kagome let out a contemptuous sniff. What can she do? She's been fussed over and pampered like a child her entire life. She probably can't even cook. Well, maybe she can't. I was sure she had an army of chefs for that. What if she's good at something else? Like what? I don't know. Music? I answered ambiguously. I see you know her well. I don't know her at all. She's got nothing to do with it anyway. Why so hasty? If something happened to the director's precious granddaughter, I'm sure he'd sing a very different tune. Come on, let's be constructive. Let's. She lazily sprawled back on the sofa, her legs crossed. I need to talk to my father's colleague, the one I told you about yesterday. I'm almost sure he knows more than he told me. Yeah, but he kind of also said that you would never hear from him again, so... Don't you think he might be a part of the conspiracy? Oh, stop it already. Who would find us important enough to scheme around? Yeah, there's something strange going on, but we're just a small part of it. You just don't know what my father was working on, Kagome said quietly. And what was it? I can't say. So you don't trust me? Same as you, I don't even trust myself anymore. She smiled sadly. I just don't understand much about it myself. Then we should figure things out together. Let's go. I stretched my hand out to Kagome. Go where? To my place. What? She looked surprised, even embarrassed. Can't we call from a phone booth? You think I remember all phone numbers by heart? I don't have that great a head of numbers in the first place. Fine, just... Her eyes darted back and forth across the hall as if looking for sport. Just what? Nothing. Let's go. It's going to get dark soon. I noted in my mind that it was only 2:30, but decided not to argue. How far do you live? I need to be home for dinner. Well, running here took me about half an hour, or a bit over that. I smiled broadly, and she made a surprised face. Running? You bet. You wouldn't have to run if you timed things properly. You know what? Well, she probably didn't. We can use the subway. It'll take about the same time-wise, though. Well, I'm certainly not going to run. We were already about to leave when Kagome approached us. Wait, aren't you forgetting something? I don't think so. Kobayashi-sama wants to help Iwamura-san find her father. We will now go to the police, and you will tell everything to the detectives. What? We aren't... This is not a request. He looked at me formidably from under his brows. I exchanged glances with Kagome, and the two of us followed him. Ooh. We were questioned for at least several hours. Our testimonies were carefully documented, and then we were let go. Kagome drove us right to Kobayashi Corporation's office and opened the car's doors at the main entrance. Asshole. Kagome shouted after him and gave him the middle finger. Hell yeah, I love you. Quiet, you. Do you want to go back to the police station? What was this performance all about in the first place? They know where my father is. To scare us, I think. In case the old man's hints weren't enough. It worked. Kagome shivered. I've never been to a police station before. First time for everything. Let's go now. I've already lost enough time. She looked at the clock. It's so late already. I won't get back in time. Oh, come on. What's more important, dinner or your father? I can't leave Grandpa alone. He's got nobody else left. I was seized by an inquisitive urge and found it hard to just stop. It's your decision. I'm not the only one who needs this. Kagome gave me a piteous look. Do you think I'll be able to get home before it gets dark? I don't know. I answered honestly. Fine. Let's go. The decision clearly didn't come as easy to her. Evening was drawing near. We left the subway when the sun had already started to disappear behind the roofs of the local houses. Kagome looked around in surprise and asked, But this is the station near our school. Yeah, something wrong? So you live here? Well, yeah, for almost as long as I can remember in Japan. I see. Why? Nothing. Go already. Time's ticking. She snarled. Here we are. Kagome carefully looked around my street, the yard, finally the house itself. You don't have it that bad. Quite the mansion. And in the city center, too. You understand it's not on my own merits, right? Does it make a difference? God, no. Not at all. Why do you have to pick at every single word you hear? Who lives there? Kagome suddenly asked, pointing at Himitsu's house. There? Why do you ask? You were constantly throwing glances in that direction while we walked. listen, maybe it's you who's spying on me. You're good at it. You always have to keep your eyes peeled. What if the corporation's henchmen are watching you from there? No one's watching me from there. It's Himitz's house. The redhead from school? Yes, now go. I opened the door with my key and quickly stepped inside, while Kagome remained standing at the doorstep. Well? Maybe I'll wait here? Drop it already. I've just never been, you know, to a guy's house. God fucking damn it. I growled through clenched teeth, turning away so she wouldn't hear me. If I wanted to rape someone, you'd be last on the list of potential candidates. So my guy, that's not how you... That's not the way you go about that. That's not how you reassure someone in this situation. I don't. That's not even what she's worried about. She's like, oh, I've never been to a guy's house. He's like, I don't want to molest you. It's like, that's not. I don't think that's what's on the forefront of her mind. I think y'all are kind of like, getting along. Y'all are on like the same team. Y'all are like, a buddy cop duo, And she's like, oh, I'm in a guy's house. He's like, I am not going to take advantage of you. It's like, that's not, I don't think that's the reassurance she was looking for, my guy. And even if that was, that's not the way to phrase it, my dude. That's, hey, buddy, whoa. Easy, pal. Rein it in a bit, huh? Anywho. Why, thank you. Kagome responded in a rude voice and pushed me aside, entering the house. Do you want something to drink? Water? Tea? Maybe whiskey? Water, please. She answered quietly. With a gesture, I offered her to sit behind the table. Is there nobody else here? Who else would there be? My parents died over 1.5 years ago. Didn't I tell you? You did. The awkward pause lingered in the air. So it's just the two of us now. As you can see. She noticeably fidgeted in the chair. Well, you going to call? I put a glass of water in front of her. Of course I will, but let me at least catch my breath a bit. Kagome's expression saddened and she didn't even snap back. This whole situation seemed to be really stressing her out. Alright, sorry. I dragged the telephone line from the hallway and started flipping through the telephone book. The person's name is Ichinose-san. I saw him a couple times when I was younger, but I can't say anything specific. Ichinose, you say? Kagome looked thoughtful. I think I've heard that surname somewhere before. It's not really surprising. Our fathers both worked for the corporation. There we go. What was your dad's job? He was a chemist. Worked on alternative sources of energy. Alternative? Interesting. Well, my father was an engineer. I don't really know what Ichinose-san's position was. Sit closer, you'll listen in too. Kagome hesitated for a second, but ended up moving her chair and bringing her ear so close to the receiver that we were touching cheeks. Hot. Phones and speakers haven't been invented yet, so bear with me. I said apologetically. A long note sounded, then the second, and another one, but nobody was answering. Finally, a frightened female voice came from the other end of the line. Hello? Good evening. May I talk to Ichinose-san? Ichinose-san? He's dead. The woman drew the name out painfully. He hasn't been home for 2 days. Do you know where he is? Who is this? I didn't respond. She looked at Kagome. She put a finger to her lips and shook her head. Hello? Do you know where my husband is? Give him back! I hung up the phone. We were sitting in silence for at least several minutes. So what do we do now? How would I know? Was Ichinose-san your last hope? There's always hope. My words obviously didn't reassure Kagome much. But yeah, I was counting on him. How do they even know? Maybe they tapped his phone. Ooh, yeah, that would actually, things would definitely make sense then. Or yours. That would also make sense. Tapping my phone conversations would bring about as many results as the SETI project? I don't know that one. I grinned sadly. The corporation is damn good at covering its tracks, though. But then why are we still... Don't think about it. But, just don't. We're fine, and we'll keep being fine. Or was I trying to calm down more? Her or myself? Sorry. Kagome looked me right in the eye. I don't usually act like this. And I'm usually not that emotional, and, well,
quick-tempered. I just don't have anyone besides my father and granddad. When Mom died, it seemed like my life was over. I don't want to go through it again.
It's alright, I understand. I really didn't expect her to start apologizing. I immediately felt uncomfortable. Once again, I noted that out of the two of us, Kagome had it worse. I'll help you to find your father.
Thank you.
She smiled genuinely. Fuck yeah, she did.
Niko-kun, are you home?
Fuck! God, no! Himitsu, listen, I know we had that nice little moment where we had the hug, and I know you probably have a certain idea in your head of what's going on, but this is a moment killer. This is gonna be a really bad moment killer, and I fully expected it to happen. Fully expected it. Himitsu's voice sounded from the outside. Kagome gave me a questioning look. It's okay, I'll be right back.
I should go already.
Just a minute. She gave a slight nod. I ran into the hallway and blocked Himitsu's path, preventing her from going further.
Are you not alone, Niko-kun?
No, why'd you think so? I let out a stupid laugh. Why was I lying to her again?
Girl's shoes. Is it Catty-chan?
Catherine? What? No. Himitsu slipped under my arm and walked into the kitchen while I dragged myself after her. Kagome, meet Himitsu.
Good evening.
She gave a dry greeting.
Sorry for interrupting, Uemura-senpai.
You aren't interrupting anything. We were just... What? Doing homework? There was a higher chance Himitsu would believe we were studying the Kama Sutra.
We got a joint out-of-class project.
Kagome said without a shadow of hesitation in her voice. Yeah, right, a project.
Is that so?
Himitsu curled her lips into an artificial smile.
Then I really shouldn't interrupt.
Sorry, I didn't warn you. She didn't respond, gave Kagome a cold and extremely formal goodbye, and left. Wait a minute. I caught up to Himitsu on the street. In a different situation, I probably wouldn't have cared what she thought, but now only an idiot would realize that the person I was supposed to meet today was Kagome. Is that what it looks like?
And what does it look like, Niko-kun?
Her face was expressionless, like a kabuki mask. I would guess, in any case, let's talk about this tomorrow?
I'm busy cleaning tomorrow.
Then on Monday.
Then on Monday.
Himitsu responded in the same cold way and calmly headed home. When I returned, Kagome asked, why the hell would you have to warn her? Actually, yeah.
What kind of relationship are the two of you in?
Relationship? Well, we've known each other since childhood, and as you can see, we live right across from each other.
So, childhood friends and nothing but?
Yeah, nothing but. Why other questions?
Just interested.
Sincere. Stop. In Japanese, the formal you sounded too impersonal. I forgot a name, you know. Nikolai? I've told you.
But... Stop with the Japanese conventions, especially since I'm not Japanese.
Fine, Nikolai. She was funnily mispronouncing the I. Oh, Nikolai. Oof, no, not like that. Call me whatever. You can call me what Himitsu does, Niko-kun.
No way, we're not that close.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Nico-san.
I felt somewhat flustered. It wasn't often that I was regarded so respectfully. Let's go with that.
Now I really need to go.
She stood up and waited for me to see her off, as was appropriate. Too bad we didn't manage to find out anything today.
That's not true. We learned a lot about the corporation, about Kobayashi Jun. It's a good start.
Didn't take you for an optimist.
I'm a realist. It seems to be a pretty adequate assessment of the situation.
Well, maybe you're right.
So then, till later?
Wait, let me see you to the station. I offered.
Don't. I don't think I'm in any danger in the middle of the city.
Kagome smiled me a farewell, waved her hand, and ran off. I returned to the kitchen, sat down at the table, and only then realized how terribly tired I was. There was a bottle of father's whiskey tucked away in the closet. Poured myself a glass and looked through it at the sun that had already disappeared beyond the horizon. You're not as simple as you look, Uemura Kagome. I was obviously not happy with the current situation, but sorting it out together still promised to be easier than doing it alone. And luckily, I'd be doing it with Kagome instead of someone else. Hell yeah. Watching some meaningless talk show on the TV, I quickly got hammered and soon blacked out. Okay, day number 6. We've almost been in this a full week. Things have escalated immensely. We're almost to the 1 week mark. Why does it rain, I wondered. Not in the scientific sense, but from the rain's perspective. Why does it do it? In its place, I'd stay in the clouds, closer to the stars. That's quite the thought to have when you wake up. It rained during the night. Rain is a great sleep companion, absolutely. And in the morning I felt rested. Even the hangover spared me. Today was Sunday, which meant Himitsu was busy cleaning and I wouldn't get breakfast. Although it wasn't about the breakfast at all. I had to explain myself to her somehow. Why? It's kind of like Kagome says, like, why do you need to explain anything to her? So what if she thinks that you two are, like, a thing? Huh? But I definitely wasn't going to tell her about Kagome and what I had learned yesterday in Kobayashi Corporation's offices. There was no need to drag Himitsu into this. And that wasn't the only reason. Well, then I intended to tackle the problems as they came. I made scrambled eggs, yet again, and started to eat them with gusto, having poured a generous amount of soy sauce on top. Was there soy sauce in Russia, I wondered? I was quite used to it by now. A doorbell. Had Himitsu found the time to visit me after all? I doubt it. Hell yeah! Even better! But all I found was Kagome at my doorstep. Hi. She looked stiff and avoided looking me in the eye. Well, hello. What brings you here? We need to talk about something. Alright, come in. Want some tea? Yes, thank you. Now that's unexpected. I uttered the thought out loud. I don't want to bother you. If you... It's all good. Come on in. Kagome was focused on drinking the now cold tea and was clearly gathering her strength to begin the conversation. Ooh, I like that kick. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, every now and again they just have a track that just really hits and I gotta stop and vibe with it. Oh! Fuck yeah. Anyway, today she looked much more confident, wasn't so embarrassed being alone with me in my home. And we only know each other for a couple of days. Was she really that easy to get through to? I spent the entire night thinking about yesterday, and I think I know what we should do next. And that is... Remember how you mentioned Kobayashi-jun's granddaughter, Ellie, I think? Yes, what about her? She's his granddaughter. What's there to understand? I know that, but what do you want from her? You think Grandpa confides with her about his affairs? I don't, but... Or do you want to threaten her? I just want to talk. Gome's expression grew dark. She started to look more like herself. I don't see the point. Fine, if you don't want to help. She stood up, clearly expecting me to stop her. Was there something else? Kagome let out a displeased huff and sat back down. You do understand I have no one else to turn to, right? And you know her too. I've already told you I don't. She at least knows you by sight. Miyamoto seemed to ignore my words. She realized I was lying. Sure, I wouldn't say I was friends with Ellie, but I'd at least say hello to her on the street. Even if I wanted to, and I don't, and I think this is a dumb idea, mind you, but even if I wanted to, I don't know her well enough to simply come up to her at school and then call her. Kagome interrupted me. How's that better? You think I know her number? Well, find it then. Kagome's behavior began to seem like that of a capricious child. And who would tell it to me? Is there really no one? Thought for a moment. I guess Kyosuke could know. He had a dossier on each and every even somewhat notable character at our school. And Kobayashi Ellie probably has the biggest one. Would it be a good idea to involve him? Maybe. Then what are you waiting for? Kagome asked with a smile, inappropriate for the situation. Okay, fine, but if something goes wrong, I'll say it was your idea. Kyosuke picked up almost immediately. Hello. He drawled in a disgusting manner. Nah, it's me. Gotta ask you something. Oh, Nick, hey, what is it? By the way, I got my hands on a certain videotape, and it's really something. Porn was the last thing I cared about right now. I hadn't come up with a good enough excuse for needing Ellie's number. I wasn't sure it was even possible to think of something believable in such a short time. I'll give it to you straight. I need Kobayashi Ellie's telephone number. Kyosuke took a little while to respond, but when he did, he shouted, Heck, you old Casanova. I know she sank into your heart after that time in the cafeteria.
Can you just tell me if you have her number or not?
I may, but you do understand. Information like this isn't easy to come by. It's worth a pretty penny, or gainful barter.
What do you want?
You
seem to think about it.
Let it be a favor, and then you'll return it when I need one.
Deal. And also, don't tell anyone I asked you for it, understand?
Why? That's not in my best interest.
He giggled and read out Ellie's number. Well, happy now? I let out a sigh of relief after putting down the phone. For this, I was now in Kyosuke's debt.
See, it wasn't as hard as you were playing it up to be.
Playing up? The dumb smile on my face was mostly a result of genuine surprise. So I was playing it up? Why, thank you.
Whatever, let's call.
The phone stared at me with its 10 holes and seemed to be grinning. I don't like that description. It was showing off its 10 holes and grinning. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a Sunday evening. Well, actually Sunday morning apparently, but I had absolutely no idea what I'd say to Ellie. Meanwhile, Kagome was sitting nearby, seemingly attempting to telepathically communicate her displeasure and impatience. Eventually, I couldn't bear with it either, snatched up the phone and resolutely dialed the number. A response didn't come for a painfully long time. Finally, an old man's voice sounded from the receiver. Kobayashi Estate. Nope, it definitely wasn't Kobayashi June. The voice seemed to have been ingrained into my mind forever. Hello, my surname is Anaki. I'd like to talk to Kobayashi, but with Ellie-san. Please wait a minute. The voice dispassionately responded. I covered the receiver with my hand and whispered to Kagome. Probably a butler. Didn't even take a minute. Hello? Hi, it's Anakin. We've met. I was mumbling like an 8th grader on his first date. Ah, the school bore. Hi, what brings you? She responded merrily without a shred of surprise in her voice. I didn't know what to say now. Yeah, like that was the whole thing that was in my head. Like, what are y'all even gonna say to her? You got like, okay, you got the number easy enough. What do you say? Y'all are not gonna sit down and have a game plan of like, okay, what do we say? What do we say when we actually get her on the line, huh? We're just like, hey, how you doing? Give it here. Kagome roughly took the receiver out of my hands. Roughly, and so quickly that I had no time to react.
This is Uemura Kagome, Niko-san's classmate. You don't know me, but I know who you are. I know you're Kobayashi Jun's granddaughter. And what I need from you is your family. Oh my god, damn. Oh, what I need from you is your family, for your goddamn corporation, to get back my father.
Couldn't hear how Ellie responded, could only guess.
Even then, you can still talk to him.
Really? Kagome's lips stretched into an evil smile.
Maybe I can't do much, but I'm fully capable of putting a princess like you in her place. Oh, is that so? Come and let's talk face to face. To Niko-san's house. None of your business what I'm doing here. Oh no, just you wait. Do you want the entire school to find out about your hobby? Doesn't matter how I know. You better be here in an hour. What's your address?
Kagome asked me. I limply told her.
I'm waiting.
She hung up. How do you know that? I didn't even have the time to finish.
That she pretends to be a rock star?
Kagome smugly asked. Yes.
It wasn't hard to find out. For my father, I'm ready to do anything.
Indeed, Ellie wasn't exactly trying to hide. Not that she could, performing in clubs packed with people. But then, why fear she'd be found out Why fear she'd be found out about it at school? They would anyway, but the later the better. You need to be careful around you.
You bet.
Oh yeah, God, give me that grin. Oh, fuck, I love you. Alright then, let's wait.